As the former chair of the Knox County Commission, I will call this commission meeting in order. This is the January 14th regular meeting of the Knox County Commission, and all three commissioners here are here, so I'll call the meeting to order, and I will open the floor to any public comment. Is there anybody who'd like to address the commission? Come right up. Identify yourself and...
Peter Berry of Rockland. Good afternoon, everyone.
I did.
Well, Happy New Year. When I came here last, I expressed concerns of police hoaxes and other hoaxes. And welcome new commissioners. So I've lived in Rockland my whole life, and sometimes I'm subjected to various allegations and various things, and so sometimes I have to come to the county and try to get records, try to get documentation, to try to figure out what in the world is going on. And so last year I was subjected to a really frightening police hoax. And over the last 30 days, I thank for those of you in this room that have taken the time to listen to me or meet with me. I sincerely appreciate that. And I encourage follow-up. I very much welcome follow-up because I'm living in a degree of fear of additional hoaxes, where these hoaxes are getting worse, these hoaxes are changing, the allegations are getting more and more bizarre, and so I look forward to follow-up, and I thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council or the commissioners? Seeing as there's none, we'll move on to our regular agenda. Okay. I'll start this. I'll preface this by saying this is a new year. There aren't a lot of rules for how the commission conducts its business. Most of it is just the way we've done it over the years. And so as we come across things, or as a lot of what we're discussing today is going to be how often we meet, when we meet, the order of things in a meeting. It's almost wide open. We've got a lot of room for how you would like the meeting to go. So I'll just state it that way, and don't hesitate at any point to say something about that and how we should do it, because we've got a year with whatever, and if we do something for a couple of months and it doesn't work out, we can change it and do it a different way. Okay, so it's not necessarily free form. The whole point of rules is to make sure that we conduct our business in a dignified manner. And sometimes you put rules in place to protect us from things going haywire. And sometimes that gets in the way of conducting business. So I think we're all sort of, what's the word for it? Grown up enough and civil enough that won't be the direction we wind up going. And so it may not be necessary to have hard and fast rules until we develop what we want, if that makes sense. Okay, so the first item on our agenda is the election of officers for the next year. We can do it either with a closed ballot, or we can do it the way oftentimes we do it, which is just somebody makes a motion and it's seconded, and then we leave it open for other motions and we can vote on it in public, or we can do it in a closed ballot, whichever you prefer.
I'm happy to do it in public.
I am as well.
Yes.
Is there a motion on the floor?
There is a motion.
Or
Are
a
you looking for a
nomination?
motion? Not yet. Okay. I would like to make a motion to nominate Ben Glazer for chair. Is that what you're looking for?
That sounds fine. Is there a second?
The motion.
Okay.
Great. Are there any other nominations on the floor? Do you want to make another nomination?
No.
No? If there are none, and I'm happy to do it again. I mean, I think there's a certain sense of continuity as we get into the next year. But I'm hoping that this is the last year that I do it, so that next year one of you two will say, "Oh yeah, I can do it better than him," and we'll go in that direction. But if there's no other nominations, I'll close the nominations and call for a vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. The next thing is vice chair. Who would like to make a nomination?
I'll make a motion.
Sure.
That nominate Morgan Hines for vice chair.
And I'll be happy to second it.
Okay.
Any other nominations?
I would be happy to nominate Mark Ratner for vice chair. I'll make a motion to nominate Mark. This might warrant some discussion.
I'm not going to second it at this point because he obviously decided he thought you should do it, and so if I second it, then we have a no.
Well, I guess we can move to discussion then.
Sure.
I guess a little more clarity for me on the role of vice chair would be helpful before I accept a nomination.
My understanding is really the vice chair is just there to step in and run a meeting when the chair's not there.
Okay. I'm happy to accept the nomination.
I haven't seen.
That's the extent of it.
Just because I'm sort of a control freak, I haven't missed a meeting yet, so I don't have any idea who was the vice chair in the last few years because they never did anything. So,
Got it. Okay.
but again, it's wide open. If a vice chair wants to take on more, I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah.
Well, I will decline the nomination to be vice chair.
That being the case, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Mark Green being the vice chair? Great, that's 2 down. And then comes these are our committees that we have. Most of these are, they're all volunteer committees. Some of them, we can all just sort of pick one that we want to be on and vote for it as a slate if we want to do that. At the moment, I have been on the jail collaborative, though I don't need to be on the jail collaborative, and I am going to the I don't see it on here.
NCCA?
Excuse me?
MCCA?
Yeah,
Yeah, because we had already determined those.
okay.
Yeah.
So that one's already taken care of.
But can we speak without initials so we know exactly
Yes,
what they're...
right. I was going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. The committees that we have, in the order that they're here, the CCWA is the Coastal Communities Workforce Initiative or something like that. And there's usually a board of directors. It goes all the way on what they call it the 6 coastal counties,
Yes.
which goes all the way down to York County. And it's involved with workforce issues, training, and I think a certain amount of it is spending federal dollars that are given to them to spend for things like that. Rick was on it in the past, and if anybody has a strong urge and thinks that that would be a good committee for them to be on, I mean, I think it's...
I think it's
Well, we don't have to, we can just discuss the committees first
Sure.
and then go back to it.
okay.
The Airport Advisory Committee usually goes to the person who has that in their district.
Well, I've already been to 2 of their meetings. I was there last night because Sharon did it previously
Right.
and invited me in November or January sometime, and I was there, and I also attended last night. So I should probably continue that because the airport is an Owl's Head, and that's my district. So.
Yeah, and Morgan can weigh in on that, whether she thinks that's appropriate enough
Absolutely.
too. I'm more than happy to let her do that. Usually a commissioner sits in on union negotiations with our unions.
What are the unions?
So we have a correctional union, NCEU. We have a law enforcement union, FOP. We have a communications or dispatch union, MAP, and then we have an airport union through AFSCME.
I wouldn't mind sitting in that simply because of experience in law enforcement and communications.
Okay.
So I'd be interested in that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have the Maine Council of Governments, which is our main sort of planning group. With Matt Eddy and those crazy people that are looking into just about all kinds of things. And one of the great things about what they do is they're trying to build development possibilities between towns. It's not just through the county, but it's how towns can work together to get stuff done in terms of projects or investment opportunities, and they've been doing a pretty good job on that.
Ed, is there anything on, well, I guess we'll get to this, but you said you're on the jail collaborative, but, you know, I'd be happy to do the MCOG, unless that's something you're already doing.
I mean, I do some of it.
Yeah.
I've been involved with a lot of what their stuff is, just because it's left over from being involved with the city.
Sure.
And being involved with a lot of the workforce housing issues. But I don't have to do all of that stuff.
Okay.
And so if you're interested in doing it, we can put you in there.
We'll put my name down next to
Okay.
that and work it out.
And they have these annual meetings with free lunch, which is always a good
Free
thing.
lunch. Wow.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Finally, we get a free lunch somewhere. I was wondering if we ever.
Oh, you didn't have a free lunch the other day?
Just, I'll raise my hands.
And then we have the Strategic Planning Committee, which is a committee that has not really met. It's sort of one that's been on the books for a couple of years. I think I was put on it when I first got here, but we haven't met in the last 2 years. I think it's appropriate for us to have a Strategic Planning Committee and for us to come up with a strategic plan. I think we've been so far behind the 8 ball in terms of just getting things in order here that planning has sort of taken a back seat to so many of the other things we could do. And you know, we don't have to come up with the answer for who's going to be on what committees here right now.
Yeah.
This can sit for another month or so. But it would be good if somebody was more interested in planning. That would be a good one. You know.
I mean, strategic planning to me feels like something all three of us might want to be engaged in, not to spread us thinly across, but
We would be.
Is there any?
Yeah.
There's no restriction to having more than one person.
No, it's a county committee. It's our committee. So I'm more than happy to leave it open until they really decide they're going to have a strategic planning committee meeting.
Who are the other members?
We have not had an agenda since May of 2021, so it all needs to be re-reviewed, the way we invite people, what committee members are allowed and not allowed, things like that. So all of that needs to be discussed.
Why don't we readdress it when we actually have a committee to
That sounds good.
consider?
Yeah, my not to derail, but my goal over the next couple of weeks is to meet with each department to get them starting to think about their strategic plan just for their staff and department, and then start to gather that to start the overall county strategic planning committee. So I definitely think that can be tabled until we have a little bit more information.
Okay. And then there's the jail collaborative, the District 6. There are 3 jails in 4 counties.
Okay. Lincoln's one of those, correct?
Lincoln, Saginaw, Knox, and Waldo. Yes. And at the moment, they're in the process of hiring a consultant who is going to be doing a review of the needs of the 4 different counties and how well they're being met. And if there are things that we should be doing to work more in concert with the other counties. Once we get that back, then there'll be some more discussion. And I'll be honest, this is a long-term plan that we're working on, which is going to be how do 4 counties work together to share the responsibilities of having jails. And part of that is going to be what do our facilities offer that will meet the needs of our population in the future, which may mean, well, let's be honest, it will mean in the next 10 years looking at building a new jail. It's just gonna be what we see in the future. Our jail is how many years old?
Almost there.
Almost 30 years old, and the technology behind what jails have to offer and what they're required to offer has changed a lot. So that's when if somebody feels strongly that they want to be involved with it, I'm happy to let somebody else do it.
I'd be interested in.
Great.
Great, yeah, I think it's better to have, because I'm doing the union, other law enforcement, to have somebody else.
Yep.
So it's not the same person doing everything in one lane.
Great. So that then leaves, the only one we haven't really assigned then is Coastal Community Workforce Initiative.
Are there others that are not on this list and that you're participating in?
Not really. These are the only real committees that we have.
Okay. But you're our rep on MCCA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess the other question about that is the risk pool.
That's also part of the same one, yeah.
Okay, so you're
I'll be on
doing
both of
both of
those,
those.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And so if nobody else wants that, I'll be happy to be on that one. Or if you want to be on that one more than you want to be on some of the others.
I think, let's see, I'm interested in the other two, probably more so than but if you don't want to do it in.
Oh, no, I'm happy to.
Okay.
I haven't been on that one, so I'd be happy to try that one.
Okay.
So that would put me on the first one.
I'm on B, union,
Yep.
and C.
And C. So those are Mark. And then we get rid of strategic planning for now. And then we have Morgan on the next two. Okay. Is that, everybody happy with that? And then just to make sure that we're on there, does somebody want to make a motion that we approve the slate as?
I'll make a motion that we approve the slate as designated.
I'll second that.
And it's been seconded. Any further discussion?
Ed, are you happy with this?
Sure.
You asked if we were,
Yeah.
but just want to
No,
make sure
I'm
you
happy.
are. Okay.
I'm happy.
Okay.
As chair, there are other things that if things come up, I step into.
Yeah.
And God knows I've stepped into a lot. So if there's no other discussion, all those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. We'll move down just to our real agenda, which is the consent items. Now, again, this is one of those things that bothers me and has for a while. It's just listed as consent items. Now, my understanding of a consent agenda is you either just say yes or no on it.
Yeah.
There's no discussion on a consent agenda.
If there's discussion, then whatever discussion has to be taken off the consent agenda. I
But
understand.
that is not how we've done it. So if somebody wants to come up with a better way of labeling this other than consent, these are just the things that are almost always on every single agenda.
Okay.
And, I mean, we don't have to discuss them, we could just approve them the way they are, but usually we discuss some part of them at some point or another because there's something on there that's of interest.
What I would like to see is them listed on the agenda so that not only we but other people know they're being discussed, if it's possible.
You mean individual things, or?
Well, just what is on the consent agenda.
Well, it basically says what they are.
Right.
I mean, it's already there.
Okay. then-
Whether it needs to be a consent item or not.
I'm used to, again, from previous
Yeah.
work, I'm used to if there are specific things that are not covered by warrants, reserve withdrawals. I mean, those are all here in the packet. And I, in the town in Camden when I worked, the packet was available on the website so people could see it. Although I don't know that we want to put all the warrants on. Maybe the written departmental reports. We need to figure out if we can have more visibility for the public. Because one of the things I observed when I was out there watching is that they didn't know what was being discussed in a lot of the issues. So things that make sense to be on the website so people can look up and be aware that we're making decisions about certain items would be a good thing. But I don't think that needs to include the monthly warrants, reserve withdrawals, because those are covered more under budgets.
Well, let's have I don't know that this is the time to discuss this, but why don't we discuss these ideas individually with the county administrator and with Wendy and see if there's something that we can, because I agree with you, I think we want more public visibility for everything that we're doing. There are some things that have been withheld, some of this background information.
Right.
Has been withheld.
Yeah.
But the agenda and a lot of the background information, like departmental reports, should probably be there, but maybe not all of them.
Yeah, I
So
don't
we
think
have to
all of it,
discuss
but I think we can be
which
more,
ones should be there and which ones shouldn't.
more transparent about what we're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of those things we need to discuss, is what is the packet that goes out to everybody, too. So, at any rate, we have the consent items. I will take a motion to approve all of those.
So moved.
And a second. And then more discussion. Is there anything in particular in the warrants or reserve withdrawals anybody needs more discussion on?
Nothing I saw. I noticed in the director's report there was some requests from the emergency management director's report. There's some requests about having one of us attend a training and some of the other things. So I'm interested in some of that.
Yeah, I had questions about that as well, about the G402 course. And then there's also a meeting of, let's see, the local emergency management directors meeting on January 16th. And this I think we could do offline, but just looking for a Zoom link for that.
She's right here if you want to ask her some questions. Candace is
Okay,
here.
so the G402 course is a federal class that FEMA, sorry.
I want to ask one thing. One thing I also noticed in watching that, it'd be great if when people speak they could come up so that otherwise when you look at the taping of the meeting, there's a voice in the back and you have no idea who it is. So.
It's me.
Candace?
I'm Candace Richards.
Okay.
I'm the EMA director.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So the 402 course. We just call it that because the real title is like ridiculously long. And it gets ridiculous. So what it is it's aimed at policymakers. So it's mostly taught to select board members. It's part of NIMS compliance. And NIMS stands for National Incident Management System. It's a federal system for how all incidents are managed. So all of your public safety departments, they all have to follow those rules.
It's an ICS course, basically.
Yes, exactly. It's incident command. So the goal of the course is to teach elected officials what their role is. So it's things like helping to make the policies in advance so that the fire chief has the ability to do what they need to do during a situation, that kind of thing. So it's a discussion-based class. We generally like to do it without a virtual component, but where we have several island communities, and we are going to have a bunch of them participating, we do have a Zoom option. As part of the county's NIMS compliance, our elected officials need to take it. Ed has already taken it. And so I didn't know if one of you wanted to take it for this round, and then we usually do it twice a year.
Is there any reason we couldn't both take it? I don't know if you're interested. I've already put it in my calendar.
I put it in my calendar as well, so, yeah.
If you guys are fine with it, that's totally fine. We traditionally tried to avoid that just so nobody thought we were having a commission meeting.
Oh, that's fine.
Under the radar?
If Mark can do it first, and I can, when the next time comes around.
Okay.
Is that okay, Mark?
Okay, that's fine.
The only reason for Mark not to take it first is as an emergency responder, he has already had a lot of these.
I have had
numbers,
ICS
these-
trainings
Sure.
many times, and also
Yeah.
I sat through the training as a select board member.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Well, if you, okay.
Why don't
I'm
you do
happy
this
to.
one, but then I'll come the next time, because I'm always interested in
Yeah,
hearing what's up.
that works too.
And is that, it starts at 5, is it in person?
We
or-
we're doing it at our office, but I'm doing it as a hybrid. So you can either come join us in person, which I highly recommend. It's a lot easier to get a conversation going. But we will have some people on Zoom.
Okay, and so what, maybe I'll follow up with you.
Yeah, we can
afterwards.
talk
Okay,
afterwards.
sounds good.
The other thing is monthly I meet with the town level EMA directors. And so what I gave you was the schedule for those meetings, just in case you felt like joining us so that you could introduce yourselves to them. We do a hybrid for that as well, since once again, we have island communities.
I would love to do that, as one of the reasons for joining the board is my interest in fire, EMS, making sure all those things. I'd love to be a part of those meetings.
Okay.
And I'd love to also join with the hybrid option, so if I could get the Zoom link for that.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
I'll get it to all three of you.
Okay, thank you.
But there again, is there a problem with both there? It's such an unworkable
I
situation.
mean, if we're joining by Zoom and it's a, I guess it's not a public meeting, but,
Well, every
Sure,
meeting,
that's-
I don't know, that one threw
every
me.
meeting that we have has to be public.
sure.
But as long as you're not directly discussing county business with each other.
Oh.
Right. We just generally try to avoid the appearance
Right.
of
Yeah, thank you.
not awesome behavior.
I'm sorry that we're both interested in what we're doing.
That's not a bad thing, trust me.
And we can make it work. We have language we can send out if you both want to attend something.
They can just do a notice.
Similar to
Okay.
the swearing-in ceremony. We just like to notify people when more than one commissioner is going to be,
Okay.
you know,
That'd be
together,
great.
but that we're not discussing county business. It's for a training opportunity. So we just get that out. So again, transparency.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, then maybe I'll come to the first meeting as well, on the G402 course, just to see where it is. Okay, if you can do
We
that.
got our room.
Let Wendy and Amber know
Yes.
about which meetings you're planning on going, and just as a reminder, and they'll be able to send out a
Okay.
notice.
And I'll include Amber in the emails, so she'll have all of that.
Perfect, thank you. And can you just
Thank
include the address for the January 23rd?
Yes.
Okay. Is it?
301 Park Street. We're in the public safety
Oh,
building
okay.
with the sheriff's
Okay.
department
Oh,
and dispatch.
I wasn't sure. Thank you.
That's okay.
I should know that. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Any more questions?
No, but thank you.
All right. I'm going to go hide.
Any other discussion on the consent agenda items?
I think so.
I would like to just, we got a report from the Knox County Registry of Deeds for the revenue for the last year, and I just want to say how close it came to the projections for the previous budget. And that's such a good thing to see, that things are just exactly where they're supposed to be, that we haven't overestimated or underestimated. We did come in just a little bit more, which is even better. But what a great report it is when things work out the way they're supposed to. So thank you. I know you didn't fudge it, so it's not like, I'm thanking you for making it look right. It just is right, and it means how much you paid attention to the budget in past years. So thank you.
I do have one more question
Sure.
also about the ARPA money, and I am noticing that there are a number of balances in different areas, and just wondering how much longer we have to spend out those balances.
Yep. So everything needed to be allocated for ARPA by the end of last year, so
Okay,
December
that's
31st. It has to be spent by the end of this year.
Okay, great. Okay, so there's a plan for all of that.
Or 25. End of 26, sorry. I'm a year ahead.
Yeah, okay.
So end of
Yes,
2026, yeah.
Okay. And so all the balances obviously will be spent within the next 2 years. Yes, great. Okay, thank you.
And as you can see, they are all allocated to a department.
Yes. Yeah.
Project. Anything else?
I think I need reading glasses for this one next time. Yeah.
All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Next action items we have are a couple of things. An act to approve and authorize the chair to execute the consent and assignment to transfer hangar number 28 lease from Daniel Elliott Sr. to Kathy Elliman. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and we do have the airport director. Are you the airport director or
Airport
manager?
manager.
Manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on. So, with this
Would you
hangar,
be willing to introduce yourself to the new
yeah,
commissioners, just
absolutely.
in
I'm
case?
Jacob Johnson, airport manager. I know we've met at the APAC meetings. You know, we introduced ourselves briefly, but yeah, I've been here since August, so still learning everybody's faces.
Cherishing the cold weather.
Yeah, trying to. So this individual hangar is one of the unfortunate situations where the previous owner has passed away and it went to the estate of the family. The estate has selected a family member to inherit the hangar and inherit the lease. Anytime there is a transfer of whose name is on the lease, it has to come to the commission for approval. So that's why we're here today.
Any questions? Again, this is not a lease for the hangar, this is a lease for the land that the hangar sits on.
Yes, the hangar is privately owned, and we just essentially rent out the land that the hangar is on. It's on airport property, so they have to pay us.
Is that the situation with all hangars?
Yes. All the hangars that are on airport property, there's one that is technically outside of the fence line but has access to the airport.
Any other questions, anything else? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. And then the next one is an act to approve job description for per diem airport maintenance. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And if you'd be so kind as to explain what this position is?
Yes, so we have an airport maintenance per diem position already, but this is an airport maintenance assistant position. It's going to be our airport maintenance full-time employees are expected to do a wide variety of tasks. They're expected to have the CDL license to go along with that, but the amount of work that is expected of them often requires outside help. We have to have per diem employees to come in and help during different times of the years, or to help with certain tasks like wildlife removal or snow removal, for example, things like that. It is uncommon for us to find a per diem employee that can handle all of those tasks of the maintenance workers, and usually we have to find somebody who is specific to wildlife, for example. So that wildlife person that is expected to come in is very, very, very unlikely for them to have a CDL license. It's very unlikely for them to be able to operate some of the heavy machinery that the maintenance per diem position requires of them. So that's just one of the examples that we have here. Is they will be assisting the airport maintenance department. They will not be expected to perform at the level of the full-time maintenance employees. They're just assisting in those roles and in those specific tasks.
How many per diem employees do we have?
We currently have one who is there with snow removal. That employee in particular has worked airport maintenance in the past and is able to help out with the full spectrum of everything. But we're seeking to employ 1 to 2 more who, it's a wildlife specialist and someone who is good with, day-to-day tasks as far as like cutting grass in the summers when we start to, have an excessive workload at maintaining the grounds. But, those people may not be capable of operating heavy machinery, which the current job description is asking them.
I remember watching the commission negotiate with the snow removal contract. Is the snow removal contract, did that cover the airport as well, or do you have a separate?
So the snow removal contract only covers the public side of the airport. It covers the parking lot and area like that. But our maintenance personnel, they cover the runways, the taxiways, the ramp, and things like that.
Okay.
Have you taken a tour of the airport to see the NITO equipment that they have there?
And I've been in the meeting room, and that's the extent of it.
If you get an opportunity, both of you, to see the equipment that the airport has, they got some really pretty neat stuff. Yeah. And I look at that and say, I can't run this. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. How many hours a week do you think this winds up being, or does this become sort of semi-seasonal too?
This is per diem, so it's just going to be called in as the supervisor requests. Just call in as needed. No minimum hours.
But you have a budgeted amount, I'm assuming, I'm trying to remember back to the budget document that allows for this per diem.
In the budget for 2025, we did not include per diem.
You did not.
No.
So how does that get covered?
I mean, I guess we have per diem employees. We did not include anything in per diem. I mean, that line, I guess, is going to have to be over budget if I had to.
Okay, so that's something to consider for 2026 budgeting, or is
Yes,
it?
for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Admittedly, I got here in August and had to put
Sure.
the budget together in
Yeah,
September.
you're
so-
scrambling. Yeah, got it. Okay. And then, is there an hourly rate range that you have worked out for per diems? Is it maybe dependent on what they're contracting to do, or?
Yeah, we're going to have to look at that on probably a case-by-case basis. The per diem position that covers everything now, that is actually a airport maintenance per diem.
Mhm.
You know, he is paid as an airport maintenance worker, but the assistant position is likely going to be something less. But
Okay.
at this point, we're trying to get the position approved, and once it's approved, then we're going to start looking at how we're going to compensate them.
Got it. Okay.
Amber, can you tell us where the money's coming from to pay for this?
Yeah. So Jacob and I have been discussing the airport maintenance team for quite some time. We both feel it needs to be looked at. Right now we're doing a study with MRI to look at all of our job descriptions, make sure they're accurate, put them in a 2025 format, look at compensation across all departments for each employee specifically. And part of that, we're really honing in on that airport maintenance worker role. We do anticipate changes. So Jacob and I are going to be very aware of the per diem and making sure that we stay on track with budget regarding personnel. But we are going to need to get a little creative this year, filling those needs. I think overall we've just identified that what we've been doing in the past might not be where we need to be in the future. So probably a bigger discussion for the 2026 budget, but I don't anticipate we're going to be in a budgetary crisis. Exactly. Yeah, I think we have a really good handle on it. And just to kind of speak to the wages for this position, all positions are graded if we have a new position. So we look at experience level, education, physical demands, etc. A wide spread, and then we grade it as a group, and that's kind of the salary range. So to Jacob's point, this will fall a little bit lower than our typical airport maintenance worker. But again, we're just trying to get creative with meeting the needs and really looking at with MRI what that department really needs as far as staffing. So this will just kind of give us some wiggle room to do that this year.
What does MRI stand for?
Sure, yeah, good question. It's Municipal Resources, Inc.
Okay.
And so they work with all the municipalities, they work with counties. They've done a couple studies for us in the past. And we were able to fund this through ARPA, where they're looking at, again, all positions and compensation countywide. We should have some recommendations by end of June of this year, so that project will be wrapping up.
Any other discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the end of the action items, which gets us to the discussion items, and ones that are listed here, and we're not limited to these, are discussion on the frequency, day and time for 2025 commission meetings. We've always had them on the regular meeting on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And then have scheduled quite a few other meetings as the need has arisen. Based on everybody else's schedule, we'll call around and say, can you meet on a Thursday? Should we be more organized and have a planned second meeting every month? That might be, say, instead of, this is a business meeting, we're during the day so that department heads can come, right? Because we're doing things that are oftentimes department head related. But should we be having a meeting in the afternoon, say at 5 o'clock, or whatever time it is, on a Thursday or a Tuesday on an alternative, every other week or something, so that members of the community can come more easily, who aren't, there are a lot of people who are working who can't come. Now, would anybody come? Who knows? We don't know that for a fact. Is that an appropriate thing to do, or should we be planning a regular second meeting every month during the regular time we do it? Or
Let me ask 2 questions. Number one, you've sat here for a couple of years, and so you can probably answer the question better than Morgan and I can. Do you feel the need for it? I do think, having a second meeting at a time when the public is more available is not a bad idea.
maybe it's just because since I've been here, we've been in more of a state of flux than is normal, and we're hoping it's not in a state of flux in the future. There are usually things that have slipped through the cracks of a meeting for the first meeting of the month. And so oftentimes we'll schedule a second meeting at some point, whether it's just to sign papers or sign a lease or do something like that, or because something has come up that needs to be addressed because it can't wait till the next month. So I have seen that almost every month we've had a second meeting at least. Whether that would disappear with a steady county administrator, or whether that would still be nice to have so that the county administrator knows that there's a second time if something slips through the cracks in the first meeting, there's still something that can be done the next meeting. Amber, do you want to weigh in on whether we should have a second meeting for you?
Yeah, I think just given the unique year we're in, where we're all new, there's a lot of stuff to cover, not only at my level, but from all the departments. There's just so many ways we could do this, and I don't know if from just an information sharing standpoint to you all and to the public, if it would be better to have 2 a month, just to give that opportunity, to your point, for the public, current employees, or we change it to just more in the evening so everybody can join and we have one big meeting and continue the schedule as needed. I personally don't have a preference. I just want to make sure, to Commissioner Ratner's point, that transparency is a key piece of what we're doing this year. And again, that kind of warrants maybe a second meeting. I know in Lincoln County they have each department come up and report directly to the commission. I'm not suggesting we do that. I just want to share that there's a lot of different ways that we can share this information with you all and the public. Yeah.
Question, what's the work day for most of your directors?
Primarily, I'll say 8 to 4:30.
Okay. So, because one of the problems with having a later meeting is we're making people stay late.
Right.
People work really hard as it is, and I hate to take away time for them for that.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
And that brings, that's the point, is if we have one meeting where department heads can come to that, and then another meeting, what's the point of a meeting that's separate from that in the evening where people can come to it? What other issues would be on the discussion or on the agenda that we would be dealing with that would benefit from, say, more public participation?
The question I have is, I can adjust pretty well. Morgan, I think, how is your schedule in terms of when to schedule meetings?
I am relatively flexible, so I can make things work.
And the question is, do we need to stay flexible that Wendy and Amber just call everybody or text everybody and say, we need to have another meeting, what does Tuesday look like?
Yeah.
Or do we want to have it so that it's something we can plan on, that we know, oh, you can't go to Disney World this week because you always have that meeting on Thursday evening?
I mean, I'm inclined to say that at least in this first year, that we probably should have the 2 meetings just standard per month. If the second one is intended to be for the public, what I'm about to say probably wouldn't work as well, but my thinking was if that second meeting is sort of a placeholder for business that needs to be done that we weren't able to do in the first meeting, but there is no business, we could, cancel the meeting if there was no business. But if that was intended for an opportunity for the public, then obviously we'd still want to always hold that meeting.
Well, I'm comfortable keeping this meeting because it's traditional at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays. Maybe, and Tuesdays are a good day because people don't tend to travel or take time off the day, perhaps when most people are done. So maybe a second meeting at, say, 5 o'clock on Tuesday in 2 weeks. Alternate times, or you want to alternate the days as well.
I think sticking with Tuesdays makes sense to me,
It helps keep it straight.
yeah, and then moving to a 5, or I'd even 5 or 5:30. You know, if people are coming from all over the county and have an issue, maybe give them that extra half hour or so if they wanted to come.
Okay. I know that it's the Canton Select Boards were at 6:30. So it's but then again, that makes, depending on how much of the business involves.
Yeah.
There's never a perfect meeting time when it comes to getting more public participation in, because people are either just getting out of work and they want to stop by because then they can go home and have supper.
Right.
Or it's right in the middle of, they have to get supper done too soon after work and they'd rather meet at 7. Or, I mean, so I think 5 o'clock is that balance between people who might still be here.
And
Right.
if a director does have to stay, it's not too confined to them.
Yeah, I know we've talked about in the past, I think the chair and I have doing something quarterly as kind of a, I'll say town hall lately, just inviting the public every 3 months. Here's kind of what we've talked about over the past 3 months. Have it from 5 to 7, invite the public, invite department managers, and have kind of more of a discussion about things. Still have an agenda, of course, can cover any business. So that's also.
I actually had that thought, but it sounded like we might need the more regular meetings.
And we want to just do that then, make sure that we have a planned meeting that is with an agenda that is designed to be more of a public hall type thing. And then just keep this other meeting as an open thing whenever we might really need another meeting.
So continue Tuesdays at 2 o'clock and then 2 weeks later, Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
If you want to do that.
Hold the 5 o'clock if necessary, but that's not a given that meeting will happen.
That's sort of Bill's saying if we need, that's sort of, we're going to need a second meeting. Okay, so that way we can block off that time so that all of a sudden it's not, oh, when can you, oh, I can't meet that day, can we?
Okay. So the idea that I think, I do like the idea of scheduling at some point a bigger meeting, that we do invite all the department heads. It may be an outflow of where we stand on the budget kind of meeting. It might be what other projects are we not doing, what are we not doing that we should be doing over the course of the next part of the year, kind of thing. Assuming any department heads, I mean, every department head is welcome to come to one of these meetings too, but very rarely speaks up. Candy speaks up because we always have questions for her. But, yeah. Okay. I mean, and again, this is flexible and fluid. It can be changed. We're not doing anything that we're just trying to come up with something that is repeatable, as they say.
That's good.
Okay. So we've got that part. The next one on this is about the frequency and content of reporting from department managers and the county administrator. What more would we like from departments in terms of reports? There are usually some reports we get every single month and some that we only get every now and then. And we don't want, I think to your point about how hard our department heads are already working, we don't want to put an extra burden on them. On the other hand, there is a responsibility. Our responsibility is to know what everybody's doing. And those reports are oftentimes the best way we can get feedback from the departments as to what's going on.
would there be a hierarchy among the department directors, managers, where some we would need to see monthly, some we would get to see every other month? Or could we make it an every other month kind of requirement so that it lessens the amount of busy work, but it keeps us enough, and maybe stagger them so that 1 month we get so many directors and the next month we get others, so we're not bombarded with a whole bunch at one time.
I think the only issue or challenge I'll say with that is it'll be hard to remember for everybody what month they're on, what month they're off. I think everybody's pretty used to just that monthly report. And I do think there's a lot of value in regularly seeing what's going on. Mine was more just if it's too long of a report, or if there's information that's really not valuable or information that really shouldn't be going potentially to the public, can we scale that back? Are there certain areas, and they can change per department, that you'd like to see? Personnel or staffing levels for maybe the correctional facility, that could be really important to see, where you might not need to see the staffing levels for probate every month, right? So I think just kind of, and this is your first month kind of reading those for you too, so I don't think we need to determine everything right now, but just start to think about what that looks like for you. As Chair mentioned, we get some every single month and some are more periodic. It hasn't been made a firm requirement by the department managers, so just again, all things that you all can mull over. And then the frequency of the county administrator reporting, kind of what that looks like.
That was a question that I had, was what is the frequency of your reporting typically, or has that role looked like in the past?
Yeah, I think the last, it was maybe monthly, but that template was really difficult to put together because there is so much that position touches.
Sure.
My idea was to do bi-weekly and just touch on just major things categorized for you all, and then can talk offline, if anything else needs to come up. But again, if you want me to loop in to be monthly with everybody, just so it's consistent, and then as needed, of course.
I think you're right. I think bi-weekly, you get the short stick. You're the one that needs to keep us up to date, especially because things will happen.
Yeah.
So that way it takes the heat off the department managers that can report to you. But having a more current update instead of just once a month is not enough.
I do think there's benefit to getting a report from all of the departments every month. Not a big, long thing. It can be a paragraph, it can be a half a paragraph, a couple of sentences that say, we're ahead of where we thought we'd be, we're busier than we've ever been. Or, boy, has it been quiet this, something like that is always nice to have, just so that we do get the finance reports every month, and that's good, and I don't want that to change. I do like some of the numbers, seeing where we stand with deeds or probate, and I do like seeing how we're doing on employments. Those kinds of things are always nice to see. So those are monthly kinds of things. And as you say, knowing where we stand with the number of employees at the jail or at communications or at the sheriff's department are always nice to know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a really long, drawn-out statement for any of that stuff. The other half of that gets to the what you bring up in terms of being transparent is if those go in our packet, and for the most part we go online, then that's another tool for people to know what we're doing and who's doing what. And so it's not just for us, it's for the rest of the community, ideally.
Right.
As a report out, this is what, so every month somebody says, look what Deeds is doing. So I think some of that has a value beyond it just going to us.
And if that is something we want to pursue, then I will just make sure I speak with all the department managers to triple check what they put in that and what's appropriate for public use and things
Right.
like that. And make sure we're taking things offline that need to be taken offline.
But it also gets to our website. And if that is going to be available on the website as a packet, this is what the commissioners get before the meeting kind of thing, so somebody can click on that as a link too.
Or a portion of what they get, but yes.
And who puts it on there?
Right.
Just the technology of getting it on there on a regular basis.
Yep.
I think brevity is important. Nobody needs to be a creative writer. Oh gosh, I got to write along. Just the facts. And if they don't have anything, just saying,
That's what,
We don't really want creative writers making things up. We want writers who are writing what's really going on. Okay. I don't think we're coming up with any hard and fast rules. We're just coming up with some ideas that we're banging around, which is good.
good discussion.
And then discuss the February regular commission meeting. Oh, there's one thing that should be on there. As you know, we had a committee the past year and a half looking at our charter and came up with a number of recommendations. Charter changes have to go to the voters, but we have to approve them. So we don't necessarily have to approve what was done by the charter committee, but we can. And then put that on the ballot for the voters either in June or September, depending on whenever we want them. Because some of the changes can't get done until after the next census, there's not a great rush on them. On the other hand, they disappear from our memory if we don't do something on them. And people put a lot of work into this meeting, going to these. The attorney who helped the group, Jim Katsifikas, would like to come and make a presentation about what the steps are. And if that's all right, we can schedule that for the February meeting. I can give you, if you don't already have the charter and the charter changes as recommended, I can make sure that everybody gets a copy of that, just so we have that to read over and see where the changes are and if they make sense to us. Again, this is a new commission. We may have other ideas about how the charter should be changed to send to the voters. As you may remember, I think the biggest change, there's a lot of technical changes about job names and things like that, but the biggest change would be to add 2 more commission members. So that it would be 5 commissioners, and the reason it can't get approved till 2030 is because it would mean reapportioning the districts. And only the state, though we can come up with suggestions for that, only the state legislature can do that. And so they'll put that off for a while. But anything else that we're supposed to have on the February agenda?
Well, the regular, I do have a couple of items already. Unfortunately, I will not be here for the regular February meeting. I have a commitment I committed to prior to accepting this role. So that discussion item is just to see if you'd like to reschedule for when I get back.
Oh.
To
Well,
hold
yes,
on.
again, we don't need to have our regular meetings on a Tuesday. If there's a day that suits you and us better for a regular meeting, if we think it's important to have you there.
Yeah, I think just given what is coming up in February, it would be helpful for you all and for me to be present and just be part of that discussion. I think there's going to be quite a bit. I'm happy to have you proceed without me and catch up after, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to push it a week to be the first week.
What alternative day would work for you?
Just the following Tuesday, so it would be the 3rd Tuesday of the month at 2 p.m. instead of the 2nd. So that would be the 18th, I believe, of February.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
That works for me.
Yeah.
So change the next meeting to the 18th from the 11th. I'll make a motion that we do that.
Sure.
Second.
I don't know that it needs to be a motion. We just tell them, and they send, whenever they send out a thing, we say, oh, that's going to be our meeting. It's okay. But yes, if there's no other discussion, All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed.
And you did bring up the website earlier, and I wanted to just touch on that briefly. It's been a sore spot for the county for quite a while. We actually have a committee right now working on it diligently. We meet weekly. We have procedures to get all of the department pages up to date and uniform with correct information. We've already updated it a ton to be really friendly to the public. So if you go on and check it out, you can add all of our meetings to your calendar for the year. I mean, they're all our new budget's out there, the virtual budget's out there. We have reminders and announcements, and it's looking a lot better. So as we kind of go through these things and we're talking about transparency, those are absolutely things that we can start to include. And we have a process for doing so. So that'll be exciting to get on the website and to get out to the public more.
If we have comments we would like to make on the website, is there somebody we should be contacting? Okay.
That's a very heavy lift, and so I appreciate the work that you're all doing on that. I've worked on a number of websites, and I know what it takes. One question I do have, and I'm assuming because it's a government website, but I shouldn't make assumptions. Everything is ADA compliant, and yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We went through a 3-hour training to learn how to anything that goes on the website to be compliant with that, and there's double checks. And the new website company that we went with is a lot better, a lot more responsive for things in question in that nature.
Great.
But yes, absolutely.
And mobile friendly?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
Great. Okay, that's the February meeting. You had another item you wanted to bring up.
I just wanted to discuss there are things that come up in the course of doing the job that I wanted to, so they don't necessarily need to be discussed among the commissioners, just more of an informational thing. We used to have select board member reports at, so the select board would say, oh, I went to this meeting, I went to this meeting. Last night I was at the airport, the APAC meeting, and as they continue their business. So I just, if there's a moment after, maybe after having the public comment and having commissioners' reports, if there's anything that doesn't really need to fill in, I think that might not be a bad idea.
I mean, does that fall under other business in the future, or do you want a separate agenda item for commissioner updates?
We just had it as commission, as select board updates or whatever. It could be under other business. It's fine. It's one of the things I'd like to. It was good to do at the beginning of meetings because as public comes, and I'm used to meetings where we had lots more public come to the meetings for the select board, and people would come and want to do their business. So I wanted the people that were there in the beginning, to hear what was going on, what we were doing, because a lot of them, by the time you get to other business, people are gone. They've done their business, they've left. Even our department heads will leave as they discuss things very often. So it's just nice, something nice to have. And if there's nothing, there's nothing. And for me, for instance, an hour after we were sworn in last week, I was contacted by the administrator for North Haven, because the ferry service is suggesting changes that would drastically alter the way the ferries work with the islands, and so safety problems, and so they're very concerned about that. So tomorrow morning I'll be on a Zoom with administrators from a bunch of the islands, from North Haven and Vinyl Haven and some other people, just to hear about their concerns. So just so people know that that's going on. I think those things are important, or as we go to our different committee meetings. So just my suggestion.
A good reason to have it earlier, about where you're saying after the public comment period, is just in case there's anything that we need to vote on or might be something you'd like to bring up as an agenda item. That way we have it in the beginning and we can put it on the agenda as an action item after that. Not that we oftentimes do that, but it might be, you know.
Yeah, just a suggestion to have the ability to say, oh, by the way, especially because we don't have the opportunity to discuss with each other at any other time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, if it's all right, we'll stick something like that in on the agenda. So it would be, the third item would be commissioner updates. And then we'll see what happens after that. You know, maybe that we have nothing we really need to talk about.
Yeah,
That might
it
be
may,
good.
may not be, but
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
just in terms of, I want people to know what we're doing. You know, especially as I think we can move to get the public more involved and more aware that, one, we exist, and we have serious, we do serious things that affect their lives. I'd like them to know about it.
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
Kind of one more that just came up. You mentioned the islands, and we had chatted, and I think all of you are aware we have island contracts. So we discussed union negotiations and those union contracts, and I believe Commissioner Rattner, you volunteered to be on those. We also have just regular contracts throughout the county, and I'm not sure if you want to sign up to be a part of those as, you know, as appropriate, or if somebody else wants to kind of weigh in on those bigger contracts. I mean, we have probably 2 pages full of various contracts that we just have to have, and they often come up for, you know, or they often expire where we need to renegotiate them or re-agree or look at our needs again. I know I've chatted with all of you about the island contract specifically, but just those types of discussions. And it could be by district or by kind of committee, depending on where it falls, or if you wanted to just appoint one person. You can think on it, but just while we were discussing the committees.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think it's a bad idea for we all to know what's sort of going on as we learn about the scope, especially Morgan and I, as we learn about the scope of everything that we learned.
Sure. Yeah, and I think, for example, if we had an airport contract that needed to be discussed, we'd probably bring you in as part of the APAC, right? If it was more something, you know, around the government, you know, Council of Governments, probably wouldn't happen, but, you know, bring.
In that case, that's something that could be discussed in the commissioner
Yep.
report coming up. Oh, by the way, I was involved with this discussion about this contract.
There is a fair number of the contracts. It's either the county administrator who signs, the sheriff who signs, or the commission chair who signs. And I'm more than happy, and I'd like to, be involved in some of the discussions in some of the other contracts.
Then why don't we make
Yeah.
the point person do that?
It's been a lot sort of squishier over the last year and a half as to who signs contracts and who's involved with what. And I think we need to start reestablishing really that most of this stuff, if it's year after year and it doesn't cost a lot more and it's in the budget, this is really something that goes through to the county administrator, not necessarily the departments, but it goes all the way up to the county administrator and doesn't necessarily come to us because we have voted the money
Right.
already.
Right.
And this is just another way of spending that money. We don't need to sign, when somebody brings us a budget and says, well, next year we're going to be doing a contract for a computer software. We like to know that that contract's been signed, but that amount of money has already been associated with that budget line. And so therefore, we've already approved the spending of the money. We don't necessarily have to be involved in the minutia of how it's done. But some of those things are, I mean, we went through a long thing. You bring up the snow plowing. That was a long, involved one because the increase was, you know, whatever it was, 250% more than we'd ever spent before. And it was therefore outside of what the budget was. It really affected the budget coming up. Those are the kinds of things we certainly want to know about and be involved in the discussion. But for the most part, I think these are things that we really want to trust them to do. But yes, it's also good for us to be involved in knowing what's going on. but I'd also wouldn't mind continuing some of that role that I had of knowing what contracts are going on. Because one of the problems we had...
Why don't we designate you as the
Yeah.
person to be aware?
One of the problems we had was everybody who's in whatever positions they have, especially the county administrator, after a certain number of years gets in a routine of, oh, this contract's due, I have to put out a bid for the heating contract. You know, how much is oil going to cost? How much is gas going to cost? And when you get a new administrator, those dates and times sometimes disappear. And nobody knows, oh, we're supposed to put out a bid for a heating oil contract, which is some of the problems we've had over the last couple of years, is some of those contracts have fallen through the cracks again. And I think what Amber and the sheriff and Kathy have been doing is trying to sort of create a spreadsheet of those contracts so we don't have that problem that anybody can look at that and say, oh, it's time to start renewing this contract or this contract's up. There's, you know, the airport manager's got this whole list of different contracts that he's required by the FAA to come up with. Oh, it's 5 years, time for a new engineering contract, or that kind of stuff. And that one definitely goes to the airport committee, and therefore you'd be the one who's involved in that. But I think we're still working through it. Yeah.
I'll just say that some of this is a little selfishness, especially with the personnel services to the islands around deputy services. I personally feel that a commissioner should be present at those discussions because there is a lot of financial impact that some of those operational decisions can have. But to Ed's point, or Commissioner Glazer's point, some of those don't have those smaller details, and they are pretty straightforward. So it isn't going to be in every contract case. And maybe it is more of a case-by-case basis to bring it to you folks of who's going to sit on this.
Yeah, again, you know, a sheriff's contract with the islands would certainly be something that would fall to the commissioner from that district, I would think. I think they'd feel happier having their representative at a meeting like that, too. Yeah. Good. What else? Anything else? What haven't we discussed to death yet?
So, just to clarify, our next meeting is the 3rd February at 2 o'clock.
Maybe. The scheduled meeting is then.
That's right. But we have a window for alternate Tuesdays at 5 o'clock if we need it, but we don't have any scheduled yet. But that will be our alternate date when we need it.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not coming in 2 weeks at 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
Correct.
Unless
Right, unless
the
otherwise
administrator
stated.
gets a hold of us and says
Yeah.
that.
We are required by law, I think, only to give 24 hours notice of a meeting.
Okay.
So it could be, I mean, obviously, if you are both busy, it doesn't really matter when we schedule a meeting. You can't schedule a meeting then. But 24 hours would be the minimum that we have to give. I think it's even less than that if it's an emergency. But for some kind of a real meeting, we have to give at least 24 hours notice.
And I do have one other thing I'd like to mention.
Sure.
Two things. Number one, I'd like to thank our previous commissioners, Sharon Bowman and Richard Parent, for I think close to 25 plus years of service. So that's an amazing amount of time to serve the public for both of them. So I actually miss coming here and not seeing them because they were such a part of it. And number two, just for people to be aware, there's been a lot of discussion about what's been going on in Los Angeles. And it's such a difficult situation. When I was there, I worked the last big, huge fire in the Malibu fire in 1993. I was part of a LA County Sheriff search and rescue team, and our job was doing, making sure that people were evacuated. So I was right in the middle of the flames. And what's happening right now is so much larger than that was. And there's been nothing like it. And just thinking about the emergency service workers and what they're doing and what they're putting in, and knowing that it's one of the things in my commissioner role, I want to make sure that we support the emergency service workers we have in Knox County as much as we can, because in circumstances like that, what they do is just amazing. And you know, we've had drought, so we may be subject to a fire at some time, but we definitely have hurricane events. And you know, so hopefully as time passes, we can make sure that all our emergency service people are supported, are comfortable working together, and we can address any situations we have here as admirably as the people doing the work in California are right now.
I believe that the Maine Forest Service has sent to continue with Maine firefighters there too.
Yeah,
And so I believe probably every state in the union has.
I'm sure. So it's just
And help from Canada and Mexico.
Right.
Right.
How's your music studio down there?
actually, I work for a music company that has an office, and one of the smaller fires, the Whitsett fire, came within a couple blocks of the office, so I almost was out of work. My boss was there, almost ready to carry equipment out of the building, so it's close. So far, everybody involved with that company is safe. I know a number of people that have lost their homes. I lived in Los Angeles for 40 years, and I know a number of people that have lost their homes, lost everything. And the thing that, you know, that's important, it's not just the people that are losing their homes. A lot of people comment about the prices of the homes in Pacific Palisades, and they're very expensive, and there are a lot of celebrities and stuff that will have the ability to do well. But it's a lot of the support people. You think about the people that got up from their little apartments and took the bus services to work in the restaurants and clean houses and garden. And, you know, there's a whole community of workers there that don't have big bank accounts and stuff that are all of a sudden just as lost as the people who have lost their houses. It's so much more widespread than just, you know, losing the house. It's the communication with all the people that I see is just scary. So.
Thank you. Anything else? If there's nothing else to come before the commission, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Usually I discuss when our next meeting is here, but our next scheduled meeting won't be for, over a month, with a couple of holidays between here and there, or at least one holiday between here and there.
Two.
And an inauguration, wow.
Yeah.
So, if there's nothing else, all those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.